Have you ever felt a deep longing for connection? A quiet pull in your heart for something more meaningful in your life? Many of us spend our lives searching for it. We look for it in grand buildings with tall spires. We seek it in ancient texts. We seek it in whispered prayers. We journey to far-off places hoping to find a sense of peace and belonging. This universal search is a beautiful part of the human experience. It is the quest for a spiritual home, a place where we feel seen, a place where we feel heard, a place where we feel truly understood. It's a desire to connect with something larger than ourselves. This search often leads us down well-worn paths. We join communities. We follow traditions passed down through generations. These paths can offer structure. These paths can offer comfort. These paths can offer a sense of shared purpose. They provide answers to life's biggest questions. They offer solace in times of trouble. Yet, sometimes, even within these established spaces, we can feel a little lost. The connection we seek might feel distant or impersonal. We might wonder if there's another way to find the spiritual nourishment our souls crave. What if the sacred space we've been searching for isn't out there, but somewhere much, much closer? What if I told you that the most profound spiritual experiences are not always found in a designated place of worship? What if they are happening right now, in the ordinary moments of your daily life? Imagine that the deepest lessons about love are being taught by those around you. Imagine lessons about forgiveness. Imagine lessons about grace, not by a robed figure on a stage, but by the people you share your life with. This is a radical idea, I know. It asks us to shift our perspective and look at our world through a new lens. It invites us to consider that our most sacred connections might be unfolding in the most familiar of places. This new world spiritual vision isn't about rejecting tradition, it's about expanding our understanding of what it means to be spiritual. It's about recognizing the divine in the everyday. It proposes that the foundation of our spiritual life is not built on stone or doctrine, but on relationships. The very first relationships we ever have. This vision suggests that the true church, the real sanctuary, might just be your family. It is a place built not of bricks and mortar, but of shared laughter, quiet tears, unconditional love. It's a place where we can truly be ourselves. Think back to your earliest memories. What do you see? Who is there with you? For most of us, these first images are of our family. They are the people who held our hands as we took our first steps. They are the ones who kissed our scraped knees. They are the ones who celebrated our small victories. Our family is our first world. It's the place where we learn the fundamental rules of life and love. Before we ever hear a sermon or read a sacred text, we learn from them. We learn about compassion when a parent comforts us after a nightmare. We learn about generosity when a sibling shares their favorite toy. These early lessons are the building blocks of our spiritual identity. They shape our understanding of the world and our place in it. Our family is the first community we ever belong to. It is where we first experience the messy, beautiful reality of being in relationship with others. We learn to navigate disagreements, to ask for forgiveness, and to offer it in return. These are not just life skills. They are deeply spiritual practices. They teach us how to be human, how to connect with others, and how to love even when it's hard. It's in this first home where our hearts learn to open. Consider the simple daily rituals of family life. The shared meals around a dinner table. The bedtime stories whispered in the dark. The morning hugs before everyone rushes out the door. These moments may seem ordinary, but they are filled with sacred potential. They are opportunities to connect, to listen, and to show up for one another. In these small, consistent acts of love, we create a rhythm of belonging. This rhythm becomes the heartbeat of our family, a steady and reassuring presence in a chaotic world. It's a quiet reminder that we are part of something special and enduring. This is where spirituality begins. It doesn't start on a specific day or in a formal setting. It starts in the heart of the home. It is woven into the fabric of our family life. Our family is the first place where we are given a name and a story. It is the place where we are taught our inherent worth and value, simply because we exist. This is the most fundamental spiritual truth of all. You are loved and you belong. Before we seek this validation from the outside world, our family has the power to instill it within us, creating a foundation of self-worth that can last a lifetime. For centuries, we have been taught to think of church or temple as a physical building. Church, temple, a specific destination we travel to once a week. It's a place set apart from our everyday lives, a space designated as holy. We dress up for it. We alter our behavior within its walls. We associate spirituality with this particular location and the activities that happen there. But what if this definition is too narrow? What if it limits our ability to see the sacred all around us? What if the divine isn't confined to a single address but is present wherever love resides? Let's dare to reimagine what a sacred space can be. What if a church isn't a building but a feeling of safety and acceptance? What if a sanctuary isn't a quiet hall but the sound of your family's laughter filling the kitchen? By expanding our definition, we don't diminish traditional places of worship. Instead, we elevate the spiritual significance of our own homes and relationships. We begin to see that any place where we can be vulnerable, authentic, and deeply connected is, in fact, a holy space. Our living room can be a sanctuary. Our dinner table can be an altar. This shift in perspective is incredibly empowering. Think about the morning chaos in your home, the frantic search for lost shoes, the rushed breakfast, the last-minute reminders for the day. It might seem like just a stressful routine, but look closer. It is also a dance of care, a ritual of preparing each other to face the world, a testament to your shared life. A clumsy, handmade card from your child is not just paper and crayons. It is a pure, unfiltered expression of love, a sacred offering from their heart to yours. When we start looking for these small instances of grace, we begin to find them everywhere. Our homes transform from mere shelters into living sanctuaries where our souls are constantly being nourished. This practice of finding the sacred in the ordinary requires a shift in our attention. It asks us to slow down, even for just a second, and be present. Instead of seeing a messy kitchen as a chore, we can see it as evidence of a meal shared, a moment of nourishment and connection. Instead of hearing children's squabbles as just noise, we can see it as an opportunity for conflict resolution, forgiveness, and learning to live together. It's about recognizing that our spiritual growth doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens right here, in the messy, beautiful, and often chaotic reality of family life. This perspective changes everything. It means our spiritual journey is not something we have to add to our already busy lives. It is already happening. The challenge is not to do more, but to see more, to recognize the profound spiritual lessons embedded in our daily routines. The patience we learn while teaching a child to tie their shoes is a spiritual practice. The empathy we feel when a loved one is hurting is a form of prayer. The joy we share in a moment of collective laughter is a holy experience. Our family life is a living, breathing spiritual classroom. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was a successful lawyer who always felt something was missing. She grew up going to church every Sunday, but the connection she craved felt distant, like a story she couldn't quite feel in her own heart. Her life was a whirlwind of deadlines, meetings, and high expectations. She thought success would fill that empty space, but it only made it feel bigger. Then, her world came to a sudden halt. Her mother, her anchor, was diagnosed with a serious illness. The structured world Sarah had built for herself began to crumble around her. Courtroom battles lost meaning. Corporate ladders lost meaning. All that mattered was the quiet hospital room where her family gathered. Her father, usually so stoic, would sit for hours, just holding her mother's hand. Her younger brother flew in every other weekend, sleeping on a lumpy couch just to be there. They didn't have profound theological discussions. They didn't recite ancient prayers. Instead, they shared stories. They brought each other coffee. They cried together in the sterile hallway. They created a circle of unwavering support. In those long, uncertain weeks, Sarah discovered something profound. The spiritual connection she had been searching for out there was right here, in this small, makeshift community of love. The church she had been looking for wasn't a building. It was her family. It was in her father's quiet strength. It was in her brother's sacrifice. It was in the way they anticipated each other's needs without a word being spoken. The sacred was not in a hymn book. It was in the shared silence. It was in the unspoken understanding that they would face this together, no matter what. Sarah realized that all the years of shared history, family dinners, holiday traditions, silly arguments, had been building this very foundation. They had been practicing for this moment without even knowing it. They were a team, a messy and imperfect one. Her mother's illness was a terrible storm, but it revealed the strength of their family's roots. It was in this unexpected, painful chapter that Sarah finally found her spiritual home. She found it in the fierce, unconditional love of her family, a sanctuary that had been there all along. Now, let's talk about Mark. Mark lost his job unexpectedly. It was a job he had poured his heart into for over a decade. It was more than just a source of income. It was a core part of his identity. When it was gone, he felt completely adrift, like a ship without a rudder. A deep sense of shame settled over him. He felt like he had failed his family, the people who depended on him. He braced himself for disappointment, for lectures, for the quiet judgment he was sure would follow. He prepared for the worst, isolating himself in his own fear and uncertainty. But what he received was something entirely different. His wife, instead of panicking, sat down with him at the kitchen table. She looked him in the eye and said, "We are a team. Your job is not who you are. We will figure this out together." His teenage son, who usually communicated in one-word answers, came to him later that day. He handed his dad a crumpled $10 bill from his wallet and said, "This is for groceries." It was a small gesture, but it was filled with so much love and solidarity that it brought tears to Mark's eyes. In the difficult months that followed, his family became his church. They were his congregation of hope. They held strategy meetings around the dinner table, brainstorming ideas, cutting back on expenses without a single complaint. They celebrated the small victories, a good interview, a positive phone call. They didn't let him wallow in his despair. They reminded him of his strengths, of all the things he was besides his job title. They ministered to his broken spirit not with platitudes, but with practical acts of love and unwavering belief in him. Mark eventually found a new job, one that he loved even more. But the real gift of that difficult time wasn't the new career. It was the discovery of his family's resilience. He learned that their love wasn't conditional on his success. He saw that his worth in their eyes was absolute. The crisis that he thought would break them had actually forged them into something stronger. Their home had become a place where failure wasn't an ending, but a starting point for grace. It was a sanctuary where he could be broken and still be held. Finally, I want to share Maria's story. Maria was a new mother, and she was struggling. She had pictured motherhood as a series of beautiful, sun-drenched moments, just like the ones she saw online. But her reality was different. It was sleepless nights, relentless crying, and a profound sense of isolation. She loved her baby more than anything, but she felt like she was losing herself in the process. She felt alone in her struggle, convinced that she was the only one who found it this hard, that she was failing at the one thing that was supposed to come naturally. One afternoon, at her lowest point, her older sister came over unannounced. Maria was embarrassed by the state of the house, by her own unwashed hair, and by the tears she couldn't stop. She started to apologize, but her sister simply walked past her, picked up the crying baby, and said, "Go take a shower, a long one. I've got this." She didn't offer advice. She didn't say, "It gets better." She just showed up and took over. She washed the pile of dishes in the sink, folded the laundry, and held the baby so Maria could have a moment of peace. This became a ritual. Every few days, her sister would appear, a quiet force of practical support. Sometimes they talked for hours. Other times, they sat in comfortable silence, just being together. Maria's sister was practicing the ministry of presence. She was building a church for Maria right there in her messy living room. She was offering a sermon not with words, but with action. The message was clear. You are not alone. I see you. I am with you in this. This simple, consistent act of showing up was the lifeline Maria desperately needed. Through this experience, Maria learned that spiritual support isn't always about grand gestures. Often it's about the quiet, humble act of being there for someone. It's about washing someone else's dishes when they are too tired to stand. It's about holding the baby so a new mother can feel human again. Maria realized that her family, specifically her sister, was the source of the deepest grace she had ever known. She found her sanctuary not in a peaceful, quiet chapel, but in the chaotic, beautiful, and loving reality of her own family showing up for her, no questions asked. We have journeyed together through a new way of seeing the world. We've explored the idea that our deepest spiritual connection might not be found in a faraway place, but in the very heart of our own homes. This vision asks us to look past the noise and the mess of daily life and to see the sacred hiding in plain sight. It invites us to recognize that the ordinary moments we share with our families are filled with divine potential. The laughter in the kitchen, the comfort offered in a moment of pain, the grace of forgiveness after an argument. These are the true sacraments of a life lived with love. This perspective challenges the old notion that spirituality is separate from daily existence. It tears down the wall between the sacred and the secular. Living rooms can be sanctuaries. Dinner tables can be altars. The real spiritual work is not about adding more to our busy schedules, but about shifting attention to what is already there. To see family members not just as relatives, but as your primary spiritual community. They're fellow travelers. They witness our struggles. They celebrate our growth. This is not just a concept to think about, it's an invitation to act. It's a gentle call to begin the work of nurturing your own family church, starting today. It starts with the choice to see your family through a lens of grace and to treat your home as the sacred space it truly is. The power to transform your family life into a rich spiritual journey is already within you. When your children and your children's children tell the story of your family, what do you want them to say? Will they talk about the things you owned, the titles you held, or the money you made? Or will they talk about the way your home felt, full of warmth, laughter, and unwavering support? By choosing to see your family as your church, you are not just enriching your own life, you are actively creating a legacy of love. You're planting a tree whose shade you may never fully enjoy, but which will provide comfort and shelter for generations to come. The values you instill, the traditions you create, the love you model, become the sacred inheritance you pass down. This is a legacy that cannot be bought or sold. It's a spiritual inheritance of immeasurable worth, carried forward in the hearts of those you love most. Go now and be the minister of love your family is waiting for. The foundation is already there. What are the sacred rituals that make your family feel like home? Share your own stories and traditions in the comments below. We would love to read them. If this message resonated with you, please subscribe and share this video. Let's build a world of love, one family at a time. Thank you for watching.